Hello YouTube, it's me TFR Wellness and welcome again to my channel and for the second of this month's KTRT reviews. Yes, now I've got another figure from a Korean toy line that I've sort of flirted with, you could say, because I haven't actually bought everything from it, even though I do have now quite a lot of the characters from season 1. Well, pretty much all of them. The show I am referring to is Robot Trains. Now, if you go back through my review history, you'll see that I've reviewed a couple of the figures from the line before. So going back to review number 71 on the 9th of June 2016, I reviewed this guy. This is Robot Trains K. He's a main hero of the the show, especially season 1. And I got hold of him, did a review on him, and to date he is my most popular video, my highest grossing video in terms of views. It's got over 4,400 views. So don't know why, but this guy, he's the front runner in terms of the number of views I've got on my channel. Then later on that year, on the 21st of November, I did a double header review. No pun intended, because in train terminology, if you put two locomotives at the front of a train, it's referred to as a double header, and I reviewed two Robot Train toys. Robot Trains Alf and Robot Trains Victor. So I picked them guys up and reviewed them on that date. And then last year, September the 19th, 2019, I decided to buy one of the figures from Robot Trains Season 2. They basically rehashed the original toys, gave them slight repaints, but they introduced a couple of new characters for the Season 2 which came out. And I decided to go for Maxie. So I got hold of Maxie, did a review on her, and that was the last Robot Trains figure that I reviewed. So I've got 4 Robot Trains up to this point. But now I've decided to buy another one, and the reason being is because hang on, Robot Trains is now on Netflix. So if I come out, oh no, not that, come out, Netflix, it's on Netflix. Go onto my list, scroll down, and come on, and you can see there's basically Robot Trains. So it's on Netflix. Seasons 1 and 2 is now on Netflix, and I've been rewatching it. I mean, I'd seen season 1, the English dub of season 1, because they posted the episodes up on YouTube, and I watched it, and I really enjoyed it, because Robot Trains season 1, even though it's a kids show, it's pretty dark and edgy in some episodes, maybe a bit too much. I really enjoyed it. It had a linear story that went from fairly linear story that went from one end to the other. You had like the bad guy at the beginning of the show, which actually turned out to be a good guy, and he was actually being controlled by an evil computer virus, which later manifested itself by cloning that guy, making hundreds of evil copies of him, and they attacked the real world and blah blah blah. And it was there's some really dark, sort of serious, edgy episodes in it, but I really enjoyed that show. And then a couple of years later, they decided to do season 2, and season 2, the kindest way I can say about it is that it's a reboot. It's got very little in common with season 1, apart from the characters. Certain characters that are transferred over from season 1 to season 2. They've dumbed it down. They've turned it into the kids' show it was always meant to be. There's no storyline. They've basically ruined it. And if you're going to watch Robot Trains on Netflix, I can thoroughly recommend you go and watch season 1, but don't watch season 2. It's garbage. I guarantee you'll watch the first couple of episodes and think, what crap is this? What crap am I watching? I'm not watching any more of this. They really toned it down to the lowest common denominator. They really made it a proper show for younger kids, whereas the original show, I think it was aimed at slightly older kids. But anyway, in rewatching season 1, I suddenly realised I quite liked this particular character that I've now picked up. The reason I didn't pick him up before is because as a physical toy, he's smaller than the other figures I've got. He's smaller and simpler than them. So I was a bit reluctant to get him because you're paying basically the same price for this guy as you are for the other ones, and he's, you know, there's less to him. But I decided to get him anyway. And the problem I got is that because he's from the version that I wanted is from the original toy line, it's kind of hard to get hold of the original version. His toy was reissued for season 2 in the new toy line from Silverlit. The original toys was done by a company called Gina. And the later, the season 2 figures, the repaints were done by Silverlit and a company called David. So yeah, and his reissue doesn't come with the what's referred to as the unit parts or upgrade parts, where they can strap on these upgrade parts, like rocket boosters or weapons on the arms, and they got a backpack and they got things on their feet, and I wouldn't say they become superheroes, but that they power up and it allows them to deal with whatever adversity that they're faced with. So yeah, so watching season 1, I decided I quite like this character, and the character I'm referring to is Duck. Now, Duck is a little yellow boat-shaped train, and he's like the little chatterbox. He's the companion of Kay, the main hero. He's basically the companion of this guy, but he's doting on him. He's always following him around, going Kay, Kay. He's got a very good voice. He's a very typical voice, the sort of voice you'd expect, a character like Duck to have. Anyway, so I finally went and got him, and here he is in his train mode. Sorry, I dropped my piece of paper. So here is Duck in his train mode, and as you can see, he's like a little boat-shaped train, and he's got like like a boat-shaped hull. He's got like a little funnel on the top. Got mahoosive eyes. He's got a little, and he's called Duck because he's got like this duck style bill on the front. And yeah, so that's his train mode, and it's quite small. I mean, if I just transform K very quickly. Right, so there's K in his train mode, and as you can see, Duck is a lot smaller, right? So these things retail at retail at roughly about the same price. Though K, the K that I've got is what's called the DX version, and he comes in this extra large box, and he has all the train carriages, so he can actually make the train, and he has all the upgrade parts with him. Whereas Duck's box is like this. Now, Duck's box is fairly similar to the boxes for, obviously, Victor and Elf. So Victor and Elf, they get the boxes, and you can see the company that makes them is Gina, and this one says Gina World because it was made slightly later. But obviously he's a smaller figure, so he comes in a smaller box. Now, as a reference, here's the Silverlit box. I've got Maxie's box here, and you can see the difference in the boxes. I mean, these are the boxes of the Season 2 figures. This is a box from the Season 1 figure. The cardstock on the original boxes is much thicker and stronger. It's a lot thinner and flimsier on these. The packaging design is different. But anyway, that's the thing. So, yeah, so you get Kay's train, he runs along, and then he's got rolly wheels, so he rolls along. His alt mode, I've started in the alt mode because obviously, it's the most basic part of the toy. What I will say about him, on closer inspection, he does have some interesting sort of paint apps. He has like this, it's difficult to see, but he has like, you see like he's got like a wood grain effect here on the front of his bill. And he's also got similar sort of wood grains down the side, which I think is pretty cool actually. I quite appreciate that. Obviously, he's got very, very small wheels. They're on axles, so they do roll. Go around the back, and he's got like this little sort of pack with some sort of propellers on it or something. He's got a little funnel on the top. He's got a little light on there, and he's got these huge eyes. And the eyes on these figures are quite well painted. They're pretty typical cartoony eyes, but they're quite well painted. As this guy is fairly small and simple, I wish they'd have applied some extra gimmicks to him to make him a bit better, because I wish they'd have had like an opening mouth, because Duck's got quite a large mouth when he talks. He's flapping his mouth all the time. So they could have had like an opening mouth gimmick on this guy, but they didn't do that. It's got these strakes down the side of his boat hull. And but anyway, like I said, I rewatched season 1, and I really liked Duck from season 1. Especially there's one particular episode where Kay goes like super fast, and then he basically creates this time tunnel, and he tumbles through it into an alternate reality. And in the alternate reality, Kay's the bad guy, and Duck basically becomes the hero. It's quite interesting. So he gets a full launch sequence and everything. It's brilliant. So yeah, that's the reason why I bought him, was because I quite liked his character from the show, season 1 that is, not season 2, because in season 2 this guy does show up in a few episodes, but I haven't quite watched all the episodes for season 1. I've only got about another 7 or 8 episodes left to go, but I'll watch them next week. It's hard work watching season 2, it really is, because it's so for an adult watching it's very, very sort of sickly sweet, kiddie stuff, and it's really painful to watch. But Duck, he's not he's himself in season 2. I mean, yeah, he's in Waterland, and he sort of drives around in the river, and he's just not the same. I think he's voiced by the same guy in season 2, but his character, what he had from season 1, is just not there at all. I mean, in season 1 he was always going Kay, Kay, Kay. He's always hanging around and always crying over Kay. He just isn't in season 2. But anyway, so I got his his alt mode here. I went and got him. Now, like I said, he's very small. He's very simple. There's not a lot to him. So let's transform him into a robot. Now, the transformation on these robot trains is basically the same for all of them. They all transform the same way. They all basically the same robot mode, just the styling is slightly different. Now, because this guy is slightly smaller, it does kind of work against him. But anyway, let's just start the transformation. First of all, you have these little side panels that you flip up on the sides, and then you can bring out the arms, and then slide out the fists, and then you can fold the arms forward. Then you unclip the legs from the back, bring this section down, twist it around. You then slide out the legs, and then you just flip out his little toes. And there we have, you also flip that down as well. So there we have Duck in his in his robot mode, and yeah, there's not much to him, to be honest. He just sprouts arms and legs, and he can sort of wander around. Let's talk about the articulation quickly. Very restricted on this guy because he's smaller. He's got much shorter arms and legs than the other sort of robot trains figures, and because he's got quite bulky body parts, they sort of, there's not much room. I mean, his arm is on a ball joint here. It can sort of turn, but it's very restricted for movement. The arm can go backwards and forwards, but really all the arm can do is face forwards and just pivot up and down a little bit like that. He does have a waist joint, part of the transformation, and then he's got It's got knees, but obviously because that's in the way, I suppose you could fold that up and you can get like a bit of a knee bend. He has ball jointed hips, but they're very, very stiff, and they're made of this very shiny, suspiciously shiny grey plastic, which is super hard. And these ball joints were super stiff when I got it, and I had to bend them very carefully, and they went with a crack when they started moving. You know, you can bend it, but it's really not that clever. I mean, they barely spread outwards. So there's not a lot you can do with this guy. I will say, in his normal form, like this, he struggles to stand up because he hasn't got much in the way of feet. He's got no heel spurs, and yeah, he doesn't stand up very well. But when you compare him with, you know, one of the other figures, you can see the size difference. Here he is next to Alf, and you can see he's much smaller than Alf. And Victor's quite large, so he's a lot smaller than Victor. And then even next to Kay's train mode, you know, he's not that much taller than Kay's train mode. And then obviously next to Maxie as well. So again, there he is. Very, very simple. A bit basic. A bit not much to go on. I have noticed, like I said, with this suspicious grey plastic, there's a few cracks started appearing in it. It's like that plastic that my Transformers Q4 Megatron was made from, and it fell off the shelf and shattered. It's that sort of plastic, and I'm a bit worried about it. But yeah, so there's not a lot you can do with this guy. He just sort of stands up and just looks gormless with that face. Now he does. Now the reason I went for the Gina version instead of the Silverlit version is because of the upgrade parts, or the unit parts. Now he comes with the unit parts. Because he's one of the original figures. Now, in the side of the box, they have a little package down the side, and he comes with his unit parts. And he has 2 boots. He has this sort of backpack thing you clip on, and then he has these 2 arm attachments. He has like a water cannon and like a propeller fan thing. So to fit these on, the feet you sort of fold them up, and then they just which way around is right, and they just clip on like that. And that makes him a little bit taller. Then you have this piece here, which clips in the back on some very suspiciously hard clips, and then the arms. Now the arm pieces, they slide over the arms. You've got these sliders for the fists, and they have a little sort of groove in the bottom which slides over that, and they sort of clip into place, sort of. And then you put the other one on. And then the restriction of the articulation on this guy becomes apparent. So here he is in his upgrade, or his unit form, and then you turn him round, and he's got like this little funny backpack hanging off his back, which looks like some cow udders. Apparently these are back unit attached to the back, a tank form, and stores various liquid types. Because he has his arm cannons, he can shoot liquids with this one, and he can either shoot a spray, or he can concentrate it into a beam, which can turn into like a water cutter, and it can cut through things. The boots are probably the best accessory, because now that he's got these boots, it makes him slightly taller, and he stands up properly now that he's got these nice big chunky boots. If you look, you can't really see, but he's got like little propellers inside the boots at the bottom, so that's an improvement, I guess. Now, it makes him a little bit bigger. He's more or less the same size as Maxi with the boots on. So yeah, that's an improvement. But generally speaking, he's not much better. I mean, the arms are the big letdown, because the way you clip the arms on, you can't, even though you can't hold them upright like they're supposed to be. They're at this stupid angle, and you can't really aim them at all, because when they're clipped onto the arms, because of the restriction in the motion of the arms, you can't even move them. You cannot move them to point in any given direction. They're sort of fixed at this sort of skew with angle sticking out to the side. Looks like he's doing that. He's got his arms on his hips when he hasn't. Yeah, so you can't do a lot with it, unfortunately. So that's a bit of a letdown. Generally speaking, there's a reason why I passed on this guy the first time around. Now that I've got him, I wouldn't say I regret getting him, but he's very disappointing. I think very disappointing. He's nowhere near as good as the other figures that I've got. I'm still glad I went for the Gina version and not the Silverlit version, because if I'd have got the Silverlit version, I wouldn't even have got the upgrade parts. It just would have been the plain figure, and it would have been even more disappointing. The build quality, the plastic feels slightly different on these later Silverlit ones. I think the build quality might be slightly better on them, I don't know. But that's that. There is another couple of figures that I can get from the toy line. There's Selly. If you look on the back of this box, let's get the. So you've got Genie, and then you've got down here you've got Selly. Selly is hang on. It's even smaller than this guy, so there's even less reason to get Selly. I might get Genie, I don't know. Genie's alright, but now that I'm watching more and more episodes of Season 2, because she's a Season 2 character, she's a brand new character they introduced for Season 2. She's like the genius. She lives, she works in the watchtower for Rail Watch, and she directs all the other robot trains to incidents that are happening in the different sort of zones around the tower. And she's always coming up with genius inventions. She does sort of upgrades for Victor, Alf, and Kay. She comes up with new devices for them, and she's a bit of a big head. She's always crowing about how clever and smart she is all the time, and I like her design, but I don't like her character very much. And the biggest disappointment is in Season 2, you've got Duke, Duke is like, he was the bad guy from Season 1, and I really want a toy of Duke. He's quite large, he's easily bigger than this guy. I mean, if they did a toy of Duke would be that much taller. He'd be at least another 2 inches bigger than this guy. He's a big black and gold train. He's got like a big pointy nose, and he basically got affected by an evil computer virus in the first series, and he basically tried to destroy Railworld at least more than twice. And then he finally got cured of the virus, and then the virus cloned itself, cloned Duke, and there was like an army of these Duke clones sort of taking over Railworld, trying to steal the energy from everything. So that was that thing. But then he sort of came over to Season 2, and he become part of what they call the Invincible X family. They're basically a Team Rocket rip-off. So you've got Duke, and then you've got his two cohorts, Moss and Doss, and they work for this Master X, or Professor X, and he's basically sending them out to steal the energy balls all the time, and I was really hoping they'd do a toy of Duke, because I really want a toy of Duke, but sadly, because Duke is a bad guy, Korean manufacturers don't do toys of bad guys. I mean, we'll only do toys of the heroes. We'll never make toys of the bad guys, because no one would want to buy them. It's like, Well, I want to buy one. I mean, in Transformers, you got bad guys and good guys. You know, you always get bad guys. You know, so the kids can get a good guy and a bad guy and go like that. You know, it's yeah. So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed we haven't got you know, a toy of Duke. I'm almost tempted. You know, shall I try and scratch build a custom Duke figure? You know, it'd be a bit difficult, but I reckon if you was to take one of the early figures and just sort of like heavily customize it to look like Duke. No, I suppose you could do it using the mechanisms off this. It might be possible, but he's quite big. You know, he's a lot bigger than the others, and I've got to have the train as well with his Delta board and the jet boosters and his rocket pack and and all that stuff. You know, but anyway, I digress. This guy, Duck. Very disappointing. He's very small, very simple. I only got him because of rewatching season 1 on Netflix. So I quite like his character from the show. Decided to get the toy, and his toy is a bit of a letdown. Let's put it that way. So that's all I've got for today. I'm probably not going to get any more robot trains. I think I'm pretty much done with the line unless they bring out a season 3 and they improve the show and make it better. I can't see that. Or they suddenly make a toy of Duke, in which case I'll be all over it. So yeah, that's been me, Tearhog Wilderness. This video's gone on for 27 minutes now. It's a bit longer than usual. I mean, hell, this thing isn't worth a 30-minute video, no way. So I'll cut this video off here. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching me ramble on about this particular toy line, hopefully for the last time. So I've been Tearhog Wilderness. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I'll catch you all next time. Ta-da.